Hello, I took notes this time because I had a string of thoughts that I didn't want to lose. And anyway, so what causes men to snap like this? First of all, what causes men to snap is isolation, but it happens to people who are not sociable. So Asperger's is not a form of autism. This has been recognized now scientifically. It is this is the blue god. Asperger's is just a state of mind. It's just a character trait. Somebody who observes a lot, somebody who's critical of others, someone who sees more than others, someone who is not easily swept up by silly games, by common folk type of games, like social games and stuff like this. They would not, they don't like this type of small talk and chit chat and shit chat and shallowness and stuff like this. They're not into that. And because of that, they often end up isolating themselves. They don't know how to approach people. They don't know how to communicate with people. They don't know really how to communicate their thoughts. And if they do, the other people will not understand them. So that drives them more and more into their ivory tower. And then they end up on the tower shooting people. Peer pressure from Hollywood, you have to look like Brad Pitt, and anyone who doesn't fit that standard is eliminated from the game, and from the game of life, basically, from the game of getting a girlfriend, getting recognition, getting friends. Or at least that is how it feels in that moment to those people. And they feel like they don't have a second chance of anything. And yeah, so I know that this one psychologist was talking about Elliot Rodger, and he said that his father actually, because his father is a filmmaker, film director, he took him when he was a teenager, he took him to an agency or something, where they evaluate people for becoming potential actors and stars. And right there, the father meant well, but he didn't realize that he didn't need to have to do this. As a filmmaker, he could have just put his son into a film. It doesn't have to be a film that is like that promises success. I thought my kid was going to turn out like me, and that's why I didn't have kids, because I was difficult as a child. And like I said before, I ended up in therapy when I was 5 years old. So I didn't make the mistake, which is thumbs up, fantastic. I decided not to have kids. Ever, ever, ever. Okay. And I like Great Danes. They're awesome. And that brings me also to the subject, Great Dane who rescued his best friend, a girl who was beaten up by a guy. And he laid on top of that girl to protect her. She was on the ground. So finally it ended up making publicity, because that was the first case where a dog was admitted to a battered women's shelter. And ever since then, this very shelter, I don't know where the shelter is, something like Rose, they have admitted like 40 plus more dogs, into the shelter, which I think is fantastic. It's revolutionary. This shelter had a heart, and they were impressed with the dog rescuing that woman, protecting her, shielding her with his own body. So they let him in, and I am infinitely grateful for that women's shelter, and for being a role model for the world, for all the other shelters that I hope will learn from them and also take animals in, because the animals are very likely to be killed if they are left behind. And I've heard numerous cases in Northern California, because everything goes back to that issue, the ego. This guy, the woman, she said to the guy, "I don't want to have a child by you." And so his ego took offense, and one day he became so angry that he completely lost control of his mental faculties. It just short-circuited, bypassed the prefrontal cortex, as Dr. Adrian Rain talks about it, who does fMRIs on prisoners and violent criminals. And so then you have this short circuit between the hippocampus and the amygdala, and there is no more logical reasoning involved at all. It's just like complete psychotic state, and it is mental illness, and it needs to be dissolved. It needs to be healed. We need to empower ourselves, and only through empowerment will these things not happen anymore, like the case with Elliot Rodger. Only through real, true empowerment. If the father had made a movie with him as a teenager, and or put him in something, put him in some creative work where the kid is actually feeling like he is indispensable in this, whatever it is. It could be a fairy tale movie, it could be artwork they're doing together, it could be any kind of productive, creative work that they're doing together, not watching a movie together, that's not a productive, creative work. We have to create something to make ourselves feel empowered. Like art, that's why art is so incredibly important. And I am very grateful that I grew up with modern art all around me. My father is a very strong modern art collector, and he is a total fan of all of these amazing artists. And so Horst Antes, Niki de Saint-Phal, and Arnold Leisler, those are my three major artists, my inspirers. All of these amazing artists that have given me so much. I don't know where I would be if I had not had this, if I had to grow up with horrible lampshades like that one there. I don't know if this shows, but that was here in the house before we moved in, and my husband is not willing to let it go, and that's a pain in the eye for me, but I have to live with it, so what can I do? Or lamps like this one here, for example. I don't know if that shows, but that was here before we moved in too. My husband won't let go of that either. So then we had some really horrific blinds up there that I had to live with for over a year, and so finally he let me take it off and replace it with a canvas material. At least, I wanted nothing here because there's nobody here we don't have a neighbor here around us, which is great, and it's just pure nature, and I wanted nothing. in front of the window, or I didn't want those blinds, I would have taken all of this stuff off. If we want to prevent unempowerment, we need to give our children, or the children of the future, we need to give them all of these things, these creative stimulants, you know, in the environment. They need to feel love also from the furniture, you know. They need to not feel like, ew, like, you know, like, for example, I had a boyfriend in Germany a long time ago. He was psychotic, he was schizophrenic. And he said to me once, we were staying in his room at his parents' apartment or condo. They finally bought a condo, but decorated it like, I can't even describe it. I mean, it's absolute hideous taste. But that's what they find pretty. They think that is somehow rich looking, you know, and it is just looks like crap. And he complained to me about this because he's always hung out with hippie type of people, and then he's seen my parents' condo, and he really liked the modern design. And then he said, well, now looking at this curtain there, it's just so overwhelmingly depressing, I don't even know what to say. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting, because I thought, well, maybe since he grew up with it, he doesn't see it that way. But he obviously does. And that brought me to the realization that that all of this, the design that we grow up with all around us, is absolutely shaping our brains. You know, it can dwarf the brain formation, or it can make them expand, you know. So obviously an embroidery curtain, 1500 Rococo style imitation is not going to cut it, you know, for the development of a growing brain. And that's why I'm saying, you know, we need creativity. It's absolutely desperately needed. You know, we need more hippie style. We need more modern style. We need more style things that flow over with love and abundance. And it could be anything. It could be something in a uni style, like one color. It could be multicolored. But it has to speak for love, you know. It has to say love, like my artwork, like my my paintings. And I made a new vase today. I don't know if you can see that. It's on the table, out of a cardboard box, and something that was delivered to me, perfume, oils. And then I tape it with duct tape all over the place, and then I make it into a cube and into a cubic vase, and then I paint it. I paint my blue god shape on it, and then it looks absolutely fantastic. And then I put some daisies in it, the large daisies, and it looks fantastic. I love it. That makes me happy, those kind of things, you know. Some things can be made simple. You don't need to be a multi-billionaire to make yourself a cute little vase like that. You don't even need clay. You just need a cardboard box. You turn it in on the top, and you tape it everywhere to make it nice and smooth all the way around. Then you paint it in acrylic colors, and it looks fantastic. It says, I love you, all the time. Every time you go into your room and you see that vase and that's sitting on your table, and it has live flowers in it, and that doesn't require water. I mean, flowers should never be put in water. That just causes mold. Flowers should be put on a table or in a cardboard vase, and then just dry like this, and then they dry after a while, and you can make tea with it later on. You can use it for different things, you know, not throw it away, and particularly not throw it in the garbage. You throw it in the compost if you don't make tea with it. So and then it recycles itself again, and it makes fertile earth soil, and never take any kind of plant debris away from your soil, because the soil needs that plant debris. Everything is cause and effect. Absolutely everything. Everything. And if something goes wrong, like Elliot, Rodger, then, or all these other kids, you know, then we need to ask the question, why did it happen? You know, what drove these people to judge them, particularly with this shitty Christian religion? That's pukey, is that, you know. Man, people, break free from this judgment. Not to judge is a lot harder. It makes us look at the causes. It is a whole lot more uncomfortable, but that's what we need to do. We need to look at the causes of things. And that affects all of us. Every one of us is in it, in this causality. Indirectly. People who judge Elliot, Rodger, they are indirectly also at fault for what's going on, for driving these people into these mental states. Okay, everyone. But then again, these people who judge, they also do it out of their own unempowerment. And that's why I say we need to find empowerment for all people, so that these kind of negative escalations don't happen anymore. I hope this makes sense. So it's like, yeah, people, they want to be accepted, you know. It's like Elliot, Rodger, he wouldn't go for a fat woman like me, because that's too easy for him to get, you know. That's why I would never judge him for this, because I see very clearly what was going on with him. You know, he wanted the beauty queens, because that would validate him. That would make him feel like he fits in. So, but he didn't see at all anymore where the whole thing started for himself. That's why it is so critical that we all help to become more aware where things are starting. You know, where's it going? Where did it start out to go in the wrong direction? You know, that's what we need to become aware of. So we have to go within ourselves and not look outside for answers, not look for beauty queens to give us the validation, not look for women. It is the beauty queens that are their role models, which is also shitty, because who says that is sexy? Who says I mean, a lot of corporate people say that because they want you to get boob jobs and make money on that and stuff like that. But there's so many men out there who would take a chubby girl, and they're just afraid again. They're afraid to do it because that would put them down, you know, the ego type of thing. But the real sexual attraction, if you bypass this egoic need for acceptance in society, there's a lot of men who would go for chubby women. I made a video before about this, because that's what I observed. I observed it directly in my own life, and I observed it in other people's, in other girls. Other girls have talked to me about this too. So yeah, man, we need to come back to our core, the real self, you know, who we really are, and all of this craze of media and society has twisted people to a degree they don't even know anymore who they really are and what they really want and who they're really sexually attracted to. You know, it's crazy. And So we need to meditate. This is very, very important. You know, let go of the struggling. Very, very, very important. And then this other guy, he made a video which I thought was very, very honest and great. And he said that women always want alpha males. So we need to define what is alpha and what is beta, or what is omega. Omega is always the runt, the margin dweller, so to speak, and the alpha is the strong male that is empowered and that radiates security and self-esteem and, you know, power and whatever, you know, whatever a woman will associate with it, you know, money and security for the family and so on. But for some women, an alpha male will be a macho asshole with big muscles, tattoos, and gang member clothes on, and someone who is violent and someone who murders. So that's been happening a lot. For example, there was this mass murder a long time ago, Martinez or something was his name, and the women would go crazy and they'll be fans and they'll visit him in prison. So they have this image as the alpha male, but then there's a whole lot of women who, like me, who would never regard that as an alpha. We would regard this as an omega. But so for me, for example, alpha male means somebody like Sam Newhouse or Dr. Ben Goertzel, or who else? Someone who's working as someone who's a scientist, you know, working, building AGIs, and someone with long hair, with glasses on, and someone, or an animal rights activist, Paul Watson, absolutely, you know, that's an alpha male. And so those are definitely, for a lot of women, those are alpha males, you know, the men who where the looks is not, looks is rather secondary, you know. And although I personally find these three individuals, Paul Watson, Sam Newhouse, and Dr. Ben Goertzel, I find these exceptionally good looking. That's just my taste, but I do not have the average taste. But maybe it's also because I'm more true to myself, while other people, they let themselves get very easily influenced by the media and by like what is socially accepted and what is not, what is prescribed as this is who you're gonna like. It's Brad Pitt or George Clooney or someone like this. This is now your dream man, and people go like, oh yeah, this is my dream man, but they completely don't ask themselves, wait a minute, is this really my dream man? Is this who I find that sexy? And for me, that never occurred to me, something like this. You know, I always go straight towards those particular, like those round faces and big mouths and cute. You know, I find it just totally lovely. That's why I'm making these videos, because I want people to become more aware and trust more into their own tastes and into their own creativity and their own way of thinking, and bypass the peer pressure and the social stigma and the social dictations and all of this. So yeah, women, they do feel totally safe near Paul Watson. He's over 60, he is overweight, he has white hair, and he's still gorgeous looking, in my opinion. They see how loving Paul Watson is and how strong he is and how secure he is. They feel just totally safe with him. They feel they surround him and they want to be with him, and they feel like this is the person who will love my animal and my child. You know, this is also genetically built into us. So we just love kind-hearted, giving, and gentle men, and we don't want sociopathic or psychopathic type of gang people. And if the other girls that have not had the luxury to grow up with a lot of education, if they begin their healing process, they would understand that they themselves would feel the same way we do. You know, it's just has to do with healing. So, and that's why I say, you know, healing is empowering. Empower yourselves, people. Stop looking at icons. Those are, they are just marketed. Those are figures that have been hijacked by the corporations. They are marketed. It's not even good for them that they're being marketed. It sometimes makes them crazy. All of this, Michael Jackson, for example, was a very sensitive man. But all of this marketing, he was a market product, like Pepsi Cola. He was made into a product by the corporations. And people ran his life. He was not empowered at all. He was so sensitive, and all of this crushed that man. It crushed him to death. And that's why I'm saying, man, all of us, whether we are celebrities or whether we feel like we're very insignificant type of people, we're margin dwellers, or we are scholars, or we're workers, or whatever. It doesn't matter who we are or how we look like, or whether someone is in a wheelchair, or whether someone is regarded as ugly with a big nose. What matters is that each of us, we all can empower ourselves. This is so incredibly important. That's why I'm making these videos. I want you all to know you can empower yourself. You don't need the icon. Throw that in the garbage can. That doesn't apply to you. You know, your life is your kingdom. That is where you are in that moment. Make the best out of it. Connect with others. Be honest to them. Tell them how you feel. Don't build up a rage. Don't let the ego get out of control. Talk to them. If a woman says to you, I don't want a child with you, then you'll say to her, oh, that makes me sad. That hurts my ego. Say it. Don't throw her into a wall. Say, talk to each other, people. Don't build up a rage. You can talk to each other. And if you don't get along, split up. Find someone else. But find yourself first. That's what Friedrich Nietzsche always said, and particularly the Zarathustra. Read the book Thus Spoke Zarathustra. It's a fairy tale by Friedrich Nietzsche. I would say it is the beginner book for his philosophy. And the Zarathustra, he had disciples. They came to him and he said, I like you all coming to me, but I see that you found me before you found yourselves. And that's not good. I want you all to disperse into the world. I want you all to find yourself. And when you have found yourselves, and when you are becoming who you really are, you know, like yourselves and accept yourselves the way you are, we'll find each other, all of us will find each other again in 7 or 8 years. And then we'll be friends. We'll be on eye level. I don't want somebody to be under me. You know, that's what the Zarathustra said. And that's how we all should be talking. That's how we all should be feeling. Not like, yeah, you know, like these mega duper people who have gotten some fame on YouTube, and now it gets to their heads. You know, they don't want you to be empowered. That's why they keep spitting on their fans. I say, go away from those people and become who you are. You don't need shithead this or shithead that. You know, you don't need some aggressive asshole to put you down. You know, for example, tranquil. You know, don't let anybody put you down. Be who you are. Love who you want to love. Live your life to the fullest with love, caring, giving. That's all the values you stand for. Don't look for some shithead for approval. Ever, 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 ever. And don't let that ever put you down. You know, you are great. Be who you are. Take care.